Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer CS Academy Bengaluru. This is the daily news analysis. Today we'll discuss some of the important articles from UPSC prelims, mains and interview perspective. The first article is about Supreme Court versus Center on the stubble burning. On the stubble burning, criminalization or collaboration. Supreme Court has said that arrest all those people who are involved in stubble burning, and the center says that it is not that easy, not as easy as you are surrounding it to make, as you are making it out to be. So, Supreme Court and the Union government clashed over the handling of stubble burning, which is a major contributor to winter air pollution in North India, especially to Delhi. Well, the Supreme Court suggested reviving criminal prosecution against the current farmers or errant farmers, and the center was argued that it's not feasible, emphasizing on collaborative policy approach. Why? Why did the Supreme Court say that, and what is the contention of center? Supreme Court stand. Supreme Court suggested criminal prosecution and even a separate law to deter stubble burning. Justice B.R. Gavai said, give them the carrot first and then the stick. By stick, he meant arrest. Farmers must also share responsibility for protecting the environment. It is not only the people that are government or other people who are working somewhere else are to be the responsible for pollution. It is also the responsibility of the farmers to protect the environment. So, what is the center stand? Center said, though through ASG Aishwarya Bharti, criminalization just because of stubble burning is not feasible. Farmers were exempt from prosecution under the Commission for Air Quality Management Act of Air Quality Management Act. Policy is to take farmers along and not punish them. Okay, so amicus curiae's concern is, despite the massive funds and repeated SC directions, situations remains the same every winter. That the farmers keep on stubble burning. The farmers keep on burning the stubbles, which results in increased pollution in the North India, especially in Delhi. So the Supreme Court was like, if you are arresting persons who are violating the laws, that is Commission for Air Quality Management Act. If other people are violating this act, they are being arrested, they are being criminalized. Why not follow the same for farmers? Okay, so EJ's response was that suggested penalization as a sample to send a stronger message, warned against being swayed by the electoral compulsions, directed the center to evolve uniform national policy with the states. Okay, so center was like, if we start arresting farmers for stubble burning, then they are going to lose the voters. They are going to lose the electoral advantage. So center or the government is thinking from the electoral perspective. Supreme Court is thinking from outcome perspective. Supreme Court was like, no need to arrest everyone, just start arresting some people so that it sends a signal, sends a strong message. Larger context. So what is stubble burning or why is stubble burning? It is a short window between the paddy harvest and the wheat sowing. The lack of affordable alternatives to dispose the crop residue results in stubble burning. High cost of machines like Happy Seeder, despite the subsidies. Impact is major contributor to Delhi NCR's air pollution crisis. Severe health risks like respiratory, cardiovascular diseases, and the climate impact is release of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, ammonia, methane, and nitrogen dioxide. So significance is, this case shows judiciary versus executive approaches. Judiciary deterrence through law and punishment, whereas at the executive or the government thinks of persuasion, subsidies, and technological alternatives. They want to bring about change without hurting their electoral base. Whereas Supreme Court is like, bring stringent action. Okay, bring stringent action here. Policy dilemma. Punishing farmers risks social unrest and alienation. Incentives alone have not solved the crisis. So calls for a balanced carrot and stick approach. You already provided the carrot. What is the carrot? Carrot through subsidies. You have provided subsidies for them to buy certain machines and not to go for stubble burning. But if the carrot is not working here, go for the stick. That is arresting. Way forward. Technology push is needed, that is promote in situ mechanisms or machines like Happy Seeder, Superstar management system, biodecomposers, etc. Market incentives like crop residue based bioenergy, packaging, fodder, etc. And crop diversification, that is shifting away from water guzzling paddy in Punjab and Haryana, and legal framework, that is graded penalties plus strict enforcement for repeated offenders. Center set coordination, that uniform national strategy under CAQM. Okay, all these things can be done by all these things can be done by the government as well as the farmers as well as the executive as well as the judiciary, so that we can bring about a real change from stubble burning, so that we can stop this stubble burning and focus on controlling the pollution. Okay, next second article, it talks about welfare board for nomadic and denotified tribes seeks stronger mandate. We'll first understand the context and we'll discuss about nomadic and denotified tribes. So what is a context is the Development and Welfare Board for Denotified Nomadic and Semi-Nomadic Communities Board, or DWBNC, which was set up in 2019, has written to Prime Minister Modi seeking permanent commission status with the statutory backing, more members, financial powers, staff, and budget allocations for these particular uh, communities. Without the reforms, Without the reforms, the board says its ability to address the community grievances is seriously hindered. We understand the grievances from the community. In order to address these community grievances, we need funds, we need reforms. Without these reforms, all the grievances will not be able to address. So, who are the denotified nomadic, semi nomadic tribes? Denotified tribes are the communities that were previously notified as criminal tribes under the Criminal Tribes Act of 1871, which was repealed in 1952. Nomadic tribes, that is, communities traditionally moving from one place to another place for livelihood, pastoralists, entertainers, or artisans. These are some nomadic tribes. And semi nomadic tribes, these are semi nomadic in the sense these groups that shift residence periodically between settled and nomadic life. For some period of time, they will be settled in a particular region, and once the work in that particular region is done, then they start moving over to another region as well. Next, fact is, together these denotified semi-nomadic and nomadic tribes constitute 10 crore people according to the 2011 estimates, among the most marginalized groups in India. The institutional history. The Yadati Commission, which was constituted by the Government of India between 2015 and 2018, that is Ministry of Home Affairs, appointed panel listed 1,200 denotified nomadic and semi-nomadic communities already in SC/ST or OBC list, plus 216 and still unclassified, and it recommended a permanent commission for these particular communities. DWBDNC. BDNC set up under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment instead of commission to avoid judicial oversteps. So they set up a department instead of a commission. So there is a commission, National Commission for SCs, there is National Commission for STs, there is National Commission for OBCs. So this Siddharthi Commission recommended for a similar National Commission for this denotified tribes, semi-nomadic tribes, and nomadic tribes. But this was not completely taken up by the Government of India. Instead, they provided for a department, because with the commission, with the National Commission on the line of SC, ST, and OBC, it will lead to more regulatory hurdles. So in order to avoid this regulatory hurdle, they went for department. Next, key demands for the board members from 2024-25 letter to Prime Minister of PMO. First is they wanted statutory status, that is, convert this board into a permanent commission. Dedicated budget, that is, center and state allocations for the welfare of DNT, NT, and SNT, and administrative strengthening, which is appointment of chairman, financial advisor, secretaries, and adequate office space. Community recognition, that is, gazette notification of the commission list as SCDNT, STDNT, OBCDNT, and General DNT. Okay, so we have to provide a separate list based on the Hidayat Commission recommendations. And they also demanded for policy reforms, that is, modify seed scheme. Modify the seed scheme to provide wider coverage, land for housing, NOCs or no objection certificates for long-term residents, parity in education benefits with SC/ST. Next, standardized community certificates, currently issued by only 7 states. So they want this community certificates to be issued throughout the India. Next, data gaps, that is, to address this data gap, the government should conduct region specific surveys for evidence based policy making, and parity in service conditions, that is, align members pay with joint secretary level, as per the notification rank. So this is about nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes, and this is the demand of board members. Next, third article, you're talking about Ladakh protest. So currently there is a fast for statehood and sixth schedule in Ladakh. So discuss the context. So Ladakh activist Sonam Wangchuk's hunger strike has entered seventh day in the Leh. Protest organized under Leh apex body demands statehood for Ladakh, inclusion under sixth schedule of the constitution, providing tribal safeguards. The movement has been declared apolitical, with the political party members asked to step aside. Okay, so this movement has not requested any political members from both BJP or the opposition party, that is Congress, to intervene here. They want this to be apolitical. They want this to be people led. And their demand is simple: provide statehood to Ladakh and also provide sixth schedule status to Ladakh. Okay, background. In 2019, Ladakh became a union territory after the bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir. Civil society groups have since demanded constitutional safeguards to protect land and natural resources, cultural identity of the Ladakhs, and local employment opportunities for the youth of Ladakh. In June 2024, President notified four regulations for Ladakh. That is 85% reservation in the government job for residents, policies on reservation, languages, domiciles, hill council composition. Next, despite this, there is a demand for statehood and the sixth schedule inclusion continues. So key stakeholders here is Leh apex body, Sonam Wangchuk is the activist in the face of ongoing protest. Tapsung Uchewang, former BJP MP, rejoined LAB after the earlier resignation. Union Home Minister engaged in talks but accused of slow progress, and local communities. That is tribal Ladakhis. These tribal Ladakhis belong to both Buddhist and Muslim communities, are worried about land, ecology, and demographic change in the region. So, issues and demands is sixth schedule status. What is sixth schedule status? Sixth schedule status under Article 244 and 275 provides autonomous councils with the legislative and financial powers for tribal areas, currently available in northeast states and some areas of Jammu and Kashmir, and would help to protect land, culture, and customary laws in Ladakh. And the government stand is that Ladakh already has autonomous hill councils. Sixth schedule may create administrative overlaps. You already have autonomous hill councils. Why do we need sixth council again or sixth schedule again? Statehood. Union territory status limits legislative powers, so governance concentrated in Delhi. So they want statehood to be restored so that the governance can take from the locals. Statehood will provide greater political autonomy and accountability. Next, employment and resources. Fear of outsiders taking lands and jobs. Demand for legal safeguards in line with Article 371 or the 6th schedule. Next, significance of Ladakh. Ladakh shares borders with China and Pakistan, so it is very important for stability. Stability is crucial, and it is very important especially for India's national security. Tribal rights highlights constitutional questions about safeguarding indigenous communities outside of Northeast India. Center periphery tension echoes similar demands for special provisions, such as Nagaland, Mizoram, Himachal, and Northeastern states are also demanding the same provisions. And upcoming Hill Council's elections. Protest timing adds political weightage to this particular protest. And demands. Way forward is dialogue mechanism between all the stakeholders, balanced autonomy, hybrid model, that is strengthening hill councils plus tailored constitutional safeguards, legal safeguards, consider special domicile or land protection laws like in Himachal Pradesh or Northeastern states, and transparent roadmap on cultural, linguistic, and employment protections, and strategic perspective, that is balancing local aspirations with national security imperatives in sensitive broader regions or border regions. So you cannot consider the demands of Ladakh on the similar lines with demand from other states, because Ladakh is a border state. Ladakh is at the junction of both China and Pakistan. So it is a very important for national strategy or national security. So it has to be considered accordingly. Next, welfare at the mercy of machine. Facial recognition in Anganwadis. So this article argues about use of facial recognition in Anganwadis. What is the context? The union government has made facial recognition software mandatory for women and children availing take-home rations take home rations under integrated child development services via Portion Tracker. Via the Portion Tracker app. This shift in welfare delivery has sparked concerns of exclusion, inefficiency, and dehumanization, especially for the vulnerable communities. We'll see what is it. The background: Anganwadi system and the nutrition schemes. Anganwadis established in 1975 are parts of ICDS. What is ICDS? Integrated Child Development System, similar to PDS, Public Distribution System. It is Integrated Child Development System. Combats child malnutrition, provides preschool care, THR, and support for pregnant and lactating women. The scale of this program is 14.02 lakh centers, each staffed by Anganwadi workers and helper. Legal backing is National Food Security Act of 2013 makes child and maternal nutrition a right, and Portion Tracker, app-based monitoring system requiring AWWS to record nutrition data of beneficiaries. So these are the current context or the background of Anganwadis, and the government's rationale for facial recognition system is, why government is going for facial recognition system is, prevents fake beneficiaries from accessing the health benefits, stops leakages or diversion of food by AWWS or middlemen, ensures transparency and real-time monitoring of nutrition schemes. So the rationality of the government is right. So they are right on their particular thing. But what is the demand, or what are the concerns here? What are the issue on the ground? Exclusion risk. That is OTP based eKYC norm is problematic as many women lack stable phone numbers. Poor face match accuracy. Repeated attempts frustrate both workers and the beneficiaries. And rights holders denied food if the app fails. That is authentication without authoritative override. Okay, so there are technological hurdles here, and burden on the Anganwadi workers. That is low-end smartphones hang with heavy apps, patchy network in rural areas, which will result in delays or disruptions. Next, workers fear anger of beneficiaries when technology fails, despite personally knowing them. Next, misplaced priorities. Key problems in the THR. That is poor quality, irregular supply, and outdated budget. Rupees 8 rupees per day since 2018. The corruption in contracts. Per day 8 rupees in 2018 was used for corruption. Was went to corruption. Then FRs does not address these structural issues. So the facial recognition doesn't address the structural issues. First, we have to address the structural issues. Only then the corruption can be reduced. Only then facial recognition can work in properly. Ethical concerns are FRs typically are used in criminal investigation. Applying it to welfare beneficiaries stigmatizes women and children as a potential frauds. Violates principle of natural justice, that is innocent until proven guilty. For facial recognition system banned in San Francisco tech hub for ethical reasons, yet being piloted in vulnerable citizens in India. So first we have to understand the ethical concerns of facial recognition, and only then we have to implement them. Wider implication. So the wider implication is the digital welfare push, that is continuation of Aadhaar-based authentication databases, which again sparks a debate of exclusion versus efficiency. Technological governance prioritizes data and monitoring over ground realities and dignity of the citizens. And frontline worker status, that is AWWS, caught between rigid technology and community needs. Rights versus technology. Risk of welfare turning into engineers' paradise rather than people's entitlement. Okay. So way forward, we should focus on community verification. That is local Anganwadi workers, SSDs, and Mahila Mandals can work both for authenticity, evidence-based reforms. That is publish data on alleged fake beneficiary before introducing tech-heavy tools. Consultation with the workers, that is policy design must include frontline feedback. Strengthening the core issues, that is addressing the structural issues, improving the food quality, budget, decentralized production of THR, and right-centric approach. Technology should be complement, not replace trust, dignity, and accessibility in welfare. So all these things are important aspects of this particular article and facial recognition in Anganwadis. Then judicial net following the stuck legislative business. We already discussed this about many times about Article 200 and what is happening with respect to Tamil Nadu, Punjab, etc., and the role of governor. All this has been already discussed. You can check this in various newspaper articles. I have already done a topic of the day on this particular topic. You can also check this governor versus government topic. So next, let us move on to prelims topics. First is Vaishno Devi Yatra resumes after the landslide tragedy. The Jai Mata Vaishno Devi pilgrimage in Katra, Jammu and Kashmir has resumed after being suspended for 22 days due to devastating landslide. The tragedy claimed 34 lives, highlighting the vulnerability of pilgrimage routes in fragile Himalayan terrain. 34 people died because of the landslide there. About the shrine, Vaishno Devi Temple Shrine is one of the holiest Hindu shrines dedicated to goddess Vaishno Devi, located in Trikurta Hills in Jammu region. Pilgrimage route is Katra to Bhawan, which is about 13 kilometers of trek, and managed by Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board, established in 1986. Next, significance attracts millions of pilgrimages annually, boosting religious tourism and local economy. Symbol of faith, resilience, and cultural heritage in India. Yatra disruptions affect livelihoods of the local communities dependent on the tourism itself. Next, challenges selected are natural hazards, overcrowding in the peak season, strain on infrastructure and safety risks, and environmental stress, that is, waste disposal, deforestation, and wildlife impact. So, these are the challenges that are highlighted. So, way forward should be disaster preparedness, that is, early warning system, stricter construction norms, landslide prone zones, so that we do not experience the death of 34 people again. Pilgrimage management, that is regulated inflow during the peak seasons, digital monitoring, sustainable tourism, which focuses on eco-friendly infrastructure and resilient infrastructure, such as ropeways, shelters, and slope mobilization along the track, or slope stabilization along the track. And the final article for today is about Birho tribe. So, who are the Birho tribes? Why are they in news? They are recently in news because 550 Birho residents in Fulavaria, that is Kodrama in Jharkhand, to get electricity after nearly 8 decades. See, there are areas in India which have not received electricity for almost 8 decades. So, this was the case recently in India as well. So, recently in 2022, the Jainu in near the Mysore district got electricity connection almost after 79 years of independence. Now, after 8 decades of independence, this Birho tribe are getting connection, getting electricity connection. Mainly in Jharkhand, also in Chhattisgarh, Odisha, West Bengal. They are found mainly in Jharkhand, but also in Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and West Bengal. They are recognized as one of the 8 particularly vulnerable tribal groups in Jharkhand. Yesterday, when I was discussing about 4 tribal groups, I told you they are important tribal groups, but they are not part of PVTGs. They are not part of PVTGs, but this particular Birho tribe is part of PVTGs. What is PVTG? It is particularly vulnerable tribal groups. The origin and identity. Name Biror. What is B? B is jungle, Hor is man. That is, Biror means people of jungle. A ratio stock, they are proto-Australoid, ethnologically akin to Santas, Mundas, and Hos. Again, so they come under the Mundari tribal groups. Mundari tribal group. Myth of origin is they claim descent from the sun and call Kharwars their brothers. Okay, Kharwars as their brothers. And the religion belief is they follow animism mixed with Hinduism, mainly similar to Saranaism, which I discussed yesterday already. Next, strong faith in forest spirits and natural forces. And the languages, they speak Biror language, which is part of the Munda group, which is part of Austroasiatic family, related to Santali, Mundari, and Ho. Many are bilingual or trilingual, that is Hindi, Bengali, and regional languages, that is regional tongues of Birhori or Santali, Mundari, etc. Societies, small, close-knit, kinship-based communities, temporary settlements called tandas or bands, huts of leaves or branches, and clan-based leadership resolves disputes, again similar to Ho's Manki Munda. Strong community cooperation and mutual support. So, economy and livelihood. Traditionally, in semi-nomadic forest tribes, forest-dependent hunters or gatherers are famous for hunting monkeys, rope making from the forest vine fibers traded in local markets. Some have shifted to settled agriculture. which is an example of movement towards caste side in the tribe caste continuum. That is the Hindu method of tribal absorption. Two socio-economic groups are there. Utlus are wandering Biharis, sorry, Birhoris, not Biharis, and Jangis are the settled Birhors. So possesses traditional medicinal knowledge of the forest plants. So anthropological traits is they are short stature, long head, wavy hair, and broad nose. And in the strong hairs, it's not nature with nature and for forest based culture. So strong links. So this is about Birro tribe and all the articles which I want to discuss today. If you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. If you have any doubts in this regard and if you have any suggestions for me, write in the comment box. We'll discuss about this in the coming video as well. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.